Well, thank you for having us here today again and talking about this great city of Osseo. As you see by the logo there, we've redesigned the logo. Even though we're the same great city, we got rid of that chicken on a stick or whatever that old logo we used to have. So try to update it, tie it together with a little community with the school and also the water tower. So it's the new updated look, but yet we're still the same old great place. Oop. There we go. Some of the things that, we really work on as a city is, kind of our continued financial stability. Because rewind the clock a few years ago, and things were in tough shape. You look at kind of the reserve funds and kind of the outlook on things, and we really didn't have a plan. So that's one thing, as a council, we've really worked hard, really over the last 5-6 years to kind of put the city back on solid financial footing. So we're constantly updating the financial management plan and the capital improvement plan that, it's really kind of serves as kind of the Bible we use as we look at different projects and how are we going to pay for these, and really what does it mean to the city and the taxpayers, downstream, and kind of what our decisions today, what effects will they have in the future. And that way, because we're pretty small. We have a limited land mass. If you look at Osseo, we're 0.7 of a square mile, so just under a square mile with a quarter of it that's non-revenue producing. We have to produce enough revenue from that to provide all the city services. So, and that's, really the challenge is to be able to keep it competitive on a tax basis, but getting still high quality services that our residents, expect and demand from us. And really in our budget is about a third LGA. That's local government and aid that comes from the state. So, it's very near and dear to us. And as the discussions at a capital level about LGA going away, it really has an impact on us. And that's really been a goal of the council as we looked on our financial management plan, was to say, let's figure out how to take that out of our day-to-day budget and really look at how can we move that all into funding future capital projects. So that way, if it does go away, then we can go to the state and say, well, we can't build the roads, buy police cars, fire trucks, all that stuff. We're going to need to be part of a bonding bill. So we've made a conscious effort to every year kind of tweak the program, and our goal was by 2017 to be able to run the city on the taxes, and we're right on track to be able to do that. So that's a huge significant step in case that ever does go away, and that we're being fiscally responsible of the monies that we do raise, from the taxpayers. So as you can see, 2015 was the 8th straight year that we're able to have our projected fiscal budget was under what we projected, which is significant. And what that's done is really allowed us to put the city on, better financial footing. And we've really been fortunate with keeping the expenses below what our budget is, and actually having higher revenue, significantly higher revenue, and a lot of that from development has really helped, shore up the footings. And from the city of Osseo, we've gone from an A rating to a AA minus. So we've jumped 2 steps up based on our fiscal responsibility that we've shown and be able to, our reserves and everything else. And there's some additional things we continue. We really kind of, the goal is, kind of move the needle up to a AA and then eventually a AA plus. Probably based on our size, or some things we probably won't be able to get probably past a AA plus, just from oversight and the amount of staff that we have on site. So as we talk, our strong fiscal management, it's again, our budget increase this year is going to be 2.24%, and that's all going to go to as our move to funding more of the capital improvement project. So we keep everything flat or down, and we've lowered the tax rate for the citizens of Osseo. And we've gotten some pushback from people as they get their tax bill and look at it, but we say, my taxes went up 20%, and we say, well, it's not from us. And we said, well, what's the how much is the home of your value of your home gone up? 20%. It's like, well, there you go. It's a correlation. If you stayed same, you wouldn't pay any more. So, but we've been really, that's been really a thing of the council is really try to be wise with the tax dollars that we raise, because they are people's precious dollars. And as I said, we've been very fortunate for us, little lowly Osseo. I mean, we had $37 million of investment into our little town last year. So I mean, it's been projects, that we've really worked, and we've taken a look at from a council's perspective is, we were sitting on a lot of EDA-owned land, that's Economic Development Authority, a lot of land that the city owned, which wasn't producing revenues, wasn't helping at all, because for future development, some of that future development they have owned since the 60s. It's like, well, what good is that, as we continue to pay out on those. So we've really, it's been a push from the council to say, what makes sense, what fits in the comprehensive plan, and how can we get these vacant parcels programmed and basically creating revenue for us. And the big one that, everyone sees is the 5 Central project. I mean, that was significantly huge for us. I mean, and everyone says, well, it's 140 units, not that big a deal. But I mean, for us at Osseo, it is a big deal. Once the apartment is filled, basically it changes the population 10%. So I mean, that's the significance of what that development did for the city of Osseo. And you hear the shop owners up and down, the restaurants, Dean's, supermarket, and some of the businesses, they said, we've noticed an increase. And that's really it, is a lot of those businesses, it's basic 101 economics. You got to have rooftops, you got to have bodies around those, because people aren't going to drive by 6-8 different same store to get to your one, even though you're downtown. So, I mean, it's been a kind of a nice, addition for all the businesses downtown. And then we had ceramic industrial coatings, they put on a 10,000 square foot expansion. One of, our great businesses in town expanding, wanted to stay there. I know they looked elsewhere, but they said, is there a way that we can work this deal out here? So we're able to work with them and be able to expand it, working with Hennepin County and a storm sewer, and it was a lot of different moving parts, but we're able to get that done. Roshan Corporation, I'll talk about that in a little bit. The Gun Club, and then Villas of Osseo, that expansion, that's a 20-bed kind of short-term care. So if you bust your hip or need some rehab, you can go there. And I would say that's the nicest build-out I've seen in any place at Osseo. I mean, it's really Class A facility. So if you have anybody, any loved ones want a nice, high-quality facility, that'd be a good place to go. And what's nice is when the Villas took it over, now they're planning on then going systematically now through the building and adding those finishes, because it's the old Berkshire residence that, frankly needed some updating. So it's going to be a big win once that's all done. And then we've got a new retail center, then the 3-on-3 hockey rink, which is, we spend an awful lot of time there. Our team is there almost once a week. I'm coaching my son's team, but it's been a great addition. I know the association, it frees up some ice time for us, so our kids are out skating more. And then I know that they've worked with the neighboring associations, and that place is booked almost all the time, and they did a really nice job. So that's been a great addition, to Osseo. And then of course, the police department addition, that was much needed. Again, our temporary housing of them in a old house next to City Hall that was moldy basement and bats in the attic. Was time to give them a professional facility to work out of. So Roshan Corp, that was really, that's the building that's right across from the post office. You see it going up right now. And again, that was a local contractor. They've done a bunch of different buildings around. They did Noble Academy there north of St. Vincent's Church. I know they've done some things in Champlin, right by the Dairy Queen. So they're very active, in the area. And I think they're doing some stuff in Brooklyn Center down by France and 100. So local developer in town, and they're out of Plymouth. And I know they were looking around in the market. And one thing that really drew them to the city of Osseo is kind of that small town, really family-friendly atmosphere. Because it was interesting when Jeff Wellman was introducing everybody on the groundbreaking, as you see in the photo there. It was kind of interesting. It's like, here's Dave, it's been 15 years, and here's Sue, she's been here 26. And I mean, it was like everyone was like 15 to 30 years they've been there. So that company itself is a really family-friendly company, and people go there and they stay there for a really long time. So, and that's one thing that they liked, is kind of that feel in downtown Osseo. So that's going to be opening up here in June. So, and then they'll have 2,500 square feet available on the ground floor, kind of right in the corner as you see there. So if you know anybody looking for any office space, we got some extra in Osseo. And that was the last piece that the EDA owned. So that was significant too, to be able to get that off the books and then actually producing some revenue. And then last year, if you ever drove through town, we did a big mill and overlay project. Again, we milled and overlaid half the streets of Osseo last year. And what was kind of significant about that was that these roads hadn't been touched since the early 90s. They were just kind of patched, and I mean, they were terrible condition. And we just kind of, spray patched them, and hopefully would survive another year until we could get it figured out. So we milled and overlaid half the city, and so from that, and the streets we had done the next couple of years, we've touched about 75% of the roads in town. And really, we're on an 8-year project here now. Over the next 8 years, we hope to have all the roads touched, repaired, underground, and really put an emphasis on our infrastructure, because our infrastructure, again, wasn't touched, and there was really no plan to get it done. So I mean, we're trying to take things one step at a time. Although we'd like to do it all at once, we just obviously don't have the resources. And what was nice about the mill and overlay project, because there were capital improvement plan and the money that we're putting in there, we're able to do a bond inside of the capital improvement, so we didn't have to assess for it. How can we get this bigger and better and getting more tax revenue? Because that's ultimately, and continue to watch the pennies, and then bigger and better community events. We had the car show, we had the Lions Roar, which is always big. The Mini Dazzle, which kind of kicks off the holiday season first week in December, and then we also this year, the Osseo Fire Department did turn 100 years old, and they were the only fire department up in here, so we had a big, kind of a town party for them in June. So everyone's like, maybe we should do something like that every year. So look for that maybe in the future. Who knows? But 5 Central Police Department, and successful transition to the new city administrator and city planner. And of course, I'd be remiss to give the speech without talking about the Class A state champion Orioles. It was a great game. I mean, phenomenal. I mean, they went down, scored with 24 seconds left, kicked the extra point, won the game, and then of course do an onside kick to seal the deal, which was pretty fun to see. And I mean, it really, and the thing with that, every playoff game they were behind, and they came back and won. And really, that's kind of the epitome of the Osseo spirit. We're down and out. People count us out, backs against the wall, but we continue to find a way to kind of figure it out and keep moving on. Because a few years ago, it wasn't that long, they said, so you're going to become Brooklyn Park or Maple Grove, which one it is? And I mean, here we are today, still scratching and clawing and getting a better bond rating. And what's nice is we did receive an award for our downtown, the Sensible Land Use Coalition Great Place Award. So the award was given to places located within Twin Cities that exhibit excellent making place and overall design. So Osseo's downtown is a place, great community feel with ample landscape to soften the hardscape and a lovely central park and great small scale. So I mean, that's really kind of that hometown feel. And then as we're looking and keep an eye open where our park is downtown. The city is now have acquired 3 of the 4 houses on the backside. So eventually, next couple of years, we're going to turn that into one city block park right in the middle of downtown, kind of that Norman Rockwell kind of postcard.